Okay, so what we're gonna do now tonight then is we have our special guest Michael Conti with us, the last year's NASCAR Peak Anti-Freeze Series champion. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna have him start the fix setup here, and what the goal kind of is gonna be is he is gonna give us information, and we are gonna adjust the setup off the information that he gives us. And the whole goal kind of is here is from a driver standpoint, you know, trying to show you what kind of like the detailed information you need to give someone that's helping with the setups, and from someone making the setups, and just trying to show how you can take information provided by the driver and how to change the setup from there. So I'm going to send Mike out there right now with the fixed setup, and we are using the open weather for a couple weeks, 76 degrees, winds northeast 8, 31% humidity. And he's going to go out, do a few laps with the setup, and then give us some information on what he felt, and we're going to take it from there. If you want, you can say hello, Mike.
Hello, everybody. Alright, let's see here. Let's load up the fixed, wherever that might be, right here. Alright, and here we go. Alright, so far it's pretty tight all the way around, entry, center, and exit. More so center, exit, entries, just kind of what we're going to face here the whole night probably. I don't think we can fix that too much, but definitely need to be looser, center off.
(10-4). How is the feel the splitter touching the track at all? If it is, how bad is it?
I think the fix setup's pretty conservative, so I don't really think that's a problem. It hits those bumps on entry 1 and 2 a little bit, but I think actually we could probably manage to lower the splitter at some point if we had to, and I think it still would be fine. It doesn't feel like it's scraping or even slamming or any of that. Making it tight just feels like a mechanical tight without the splitter hitting.
Okay, well, why don't you park it here in the back straight and just give us some quick tire readings so we can make some adjustments on this.
Alright. Okay, so the right front middle temperature was 227, right rear middle temperature was 218, wear percentage middle on both tires was even at 97. So it's showing even, but I feel like if we were to do a fuel run or even an extended run, the right front would show more wear, and it's already heating up faster, so it's definitely going to keep going in that direction.
Okay, so now I'm looking at the setup garage here. So what we're gonna do for Mike here is, first thing is the tape is way too low, and we're just gonna bump this up to something relatively conservative. We'll just go with, I think 32 would probably be a pretty conservative number. And we're gonna take this front ballast out, because the front ballast, as I said in other videos, I've never been able to get it to work properly in the game, and it always just seems to kind of make the car tight in the center that you really can't get out. And since we're already facing a tight condition, definitely don't want that in there. And then we're going to go to our handy track bars here real fast, and we're going to up the split in them. We're also going to take the front toe out here, put that in 0 for now. And while we're at it up here, we're just going to go down a little bit on the front ride heights, nothing too crazy. And then we're also just going to make this right front spring even for now. Alright. Oh, yeah, we'll go down to brake bias a little bit too. It's 67's too high, generally speaking here. Texas, you're not using a whole lot of brake, doesn't matter too much, but it will bring this brake bias down a little bit. It will help with the entry. And here, if you notice, because we lowered the ride heights, our toe has increased to a 32nd of toe in. We're just going to take that back out. That's something you always got to pay attention to as well, because when you do make setup adjustments, you have to look at, see if anything else has changed, so it's always a good thing to keep an eye out for. Now what we're going to do, we're just going to send this back to Michael and have him do some more laps with it and see if our changes have helped him at all.
I'm just curious, Tom, what exactly is lowering the front ride heights going to do for the car and the handling of the car?
Oh, by lowering the front ride heights, we're going to help with increasing the overall downforce on the car. It's also going to help with the aeroplane by keeping the front splitter lower down the straightaways, and it's also going to have less space to travel entering the corner, so it'll get down onto the bump stops faster. Should help improve overall grip for you.
Okay. Alright, turns in much better. Better entry to center overall. Exit is still a little bit tight, but definitely improved. Entry has improved the most out of any of the 3 parts of the corner. Three and 4 is definitely better than 1 and 2. 1 and 2 still got a bit of a push in the center, whereas 3 and 4 actually, as you can see, a little bit tail happy now. That might be the wind, but definitely need to be looser in 1 and 2.
Oh, we have our first question right here, and the question is, well, tires on racing blow out due to excessive camber, not to be confused with wearing out. I know, sorry, I actually have to move the chat over. I can't exactly see the whole question, but I believe they will. It's extremely hard to do, though. I've actually never blown out a tire from excessive camber. I don't think it can happen, and if it does, you probably have something really strange and weird going on. But I think mostly it's just from wearing the tire out. I've never seen temperatures high enough and excessive camber that would cause them to blow out.
Yeah, so, you know, we're kind of in a tough spot now. We faced this many times last year in the NASCAR Peak Antifreeze Series season, where the wind really changes the handling of the car and can drastically change how the car drives from one end of the track to the other. So we're kind of dealing with that again. And like I said, definitely too tight in 1 and 2 to get back to the gas when I want to, and then 3 and 4 is already a little bit touchy center off. So any type of adjustment you're going to have to make for me is going to have to be on the smaller side, because I couldn't stand to be much looser off of 4.
Okay, so what we're going to do now is, since these changes have helped overall, we're just going to quick save the setup. Okay, so what we didn't try before was we didn't change any of the tire pressures, and right now what we could really go for is just an overall increase of grip, and I believe we can achieve that with changing some tire pressures here. Now Texas does have a high load on the tires, meaning that when you're going into the corners, there's a lot of pressure being on the tires from the banking and the high speeds. So when you have a track that has a high banking, it's a high speed, high banked, track. Generally, you want a higher tire pressure, and that's going to allow the tire to support itself better and not roll over on the sidewall. And if we're looking at the tire pressure right now, we have 56 rights and 40 lefts. And this is a little kind of big of a split than generally I usually run here. So we're just going to try going down on the right sides a little bit and increasing the left sides a little bit. Try to get this split down a little more while increasing the left sides and lowering the rights. So now we did that. We're also, well, actually, Mike, can you give me the right rear tire temperatures across the entire tire, please?
Sure, they were from inside to outside 220, 221, 204.
Okay, so we're just going to go down a little bit on the right rear camber. And that's going to allow us to do is increase the amount of tire in contact with the racetrack in the corners to also help improve some just overall grip with the car. So now, when you went out this time, do we have any troubles with the splitter hitting the track at all, or is that still okay?
Nope, still fine, no problems whatsoever.
Okay, since we're not touching the splitter yet, we're just going to try going down on it a little more. So instead of decreasing our ride heights, because they're already at 3.33 and 3.36, we're going to decrease our ride heights by going down on these springs. And I will explain this a little more here in a second while Mike is out there doing some laps. So we went from 1500 to 1200 here, and to lower the ride heights on the front, but we're going to put these back up just so we have something close to what we had before. And I'm going to share this over to Mike, and he'll do some laps with it. There you go, Mike.
Alright.
So, with these spring changes, it's actually we had, I'm planning on doing this a little bit more in tomorrow's stream, but just to touch on it real fast. When you're lowering the spring rate on the car, what you're doing is a spring rate is how many pounds it takes to compress that spring 1 inch. So when you lower the spring rates on it, all you're doing is you're taking, when the car is on the track, you're decreasing the amount of force it takes to compress that spring on the racetrack. So entering the corner, it's going to compress faster with a smaller spring, and it's going to allow the car to get closer to the racetrack, when you're entering and throughout the whole corner. The downside of that is when you go too small, it can bottom out the front end on it, which is obviously bad. So you kind of have to find a balance between your springs, your bump stops, and your ride heights. But I just thought I'd give that a quick definition for now, and it's kind of a long topic that we can get discussed on, but we'll save that for next one.
You automatically just picked up close to a tenth, about 800ths of a second there. On that lap, I can feel that the splitter is sealed much better off too. The nose has less of a tendency of wanting to pick up on throttle, which is definitely due to the springs being lower. It's sealing the car better, keeping it lower overall. Still no problem with the splitter hitting. Everywhere just feels a lot easier to drive, more or less, more neutral, I guess you could call it. Much more, I'm more aware of what the car is doing because I can feel the nose a little bit more off the corners, so that's definitely improved. Entry's still pretty good. Center is a little bit snug in 1 and 2 still, but again, we always fight that here, so that's, you know, something that gonna be hard to work out of it, but we'll definitely work at that. And 3 and 4 is still very good, turns in well, cuts the center, and the loose on exit has improved, so I think that was just from the car picking up and losing downforce. So good adjustments overall. Could use a little bit more maybe in the same direction if you want to, but you know, what you just did was definitely an improvement.
Okay, so now that Michael's pretty happy with the car here, I'm going to have him give me our right side tire temperature readings and the wear percentages, and that way we'll get a nice good look at the specifically the right front camber, because we haven't looked at that yet. And there might be some more tweaking we can do with the camber that can pick up some more overall grip here.
Alright, so the right front inside to outside temperatures were 236, 234, 222. The tread was 96, 96, 96. The right rear temperatures inside out were 230, 228, 212. Tread was 96, 96, 97.
Okay, so just looking at the temperatures and wear here, seems like the right front camber's pretty good, and the right rear seems to have helped as well. But right rear is still a little, the temperature spread throughout is a little too much than I would like for, so we're just going to make a small change there. We'll go down to 2.9, and we're just going to change the right front just a tad. And since you like the last adjustment, we're just going to go down the springs a little more here, so if we can get the splitter a little more lower to the track, even have it pick up more speed. And if you see that I just changed the preload a little bit with the adjustments we've been making, the preload did change a little bit. I'm just trying to keep it kind of close to where it was, so with these adjustments we know exactly how they're, you know, they're helping or not. We want to go, you know, too crazy with them or not. And another good thing when you're working with someone is like I shared Michael the setup here, so if you forget to save it, like I forgot to save the last one, you can always send it back to me. It's always an advantage. But so we changed the a little bit of camber here, and we're actually changed the front springs too. And I think that should be, we'll try it. We'll send this to him, see how it works out. When you get something that, you know, kind of where it is right now, where it doesn't have major flaws, you kind of want to start limiting the total amount of adjustment you're doing before sending it back. Is you start making all kinds of adjustments, you know, 5, 6, 7 adjustments, it's harder to pinpoint which ones actually helped and which ones hurt.
Okay, the left front is now hitting the track.
Okay.
So we're better entry to center. 1 and 2 is better overall, really. 3 and 4 would be really, really, really good if you could just pick that left front up for me a little bit so I don't hit the bumps down at the line.
Okay, so on a scale of 1 to 10, how hard is it hitting the bumps down there?
About a 3. 3 out of 10.
Okay. Okay, so now that we have decreased the splitter and it is hitting the bumps down there now, we have a couple options we can do. We can either go back on the spring adjustment, or we can try something a little more of fine-tuning adjustment. It's only like hitting him, like he said, like a 3 out of a 10. So we can either try going back up to about 1100 left front, or we can make a shock adjustment up here. So when you're using your shocks to try to level out the splitter like we're trying to do, you have two different, there's a bump stiffness and there's rebound stiffness. The bump stiffness, the higher the number, the harder it is for the shock to compress. Rebound, higher the number, the higher the stiffness with the shock rebounding. So they're already at 32, and so if you had to say like a 0.32 left front shock you're starting with, or something like that, you could increase the bump stiffness to help keep the left front up. But since it's already up there, we really can't do that. So what we're gonna do instead is we're just gonna go back on the spring. We're gonna try a 1075 spring, and we're gonna make sure you put the right height back down, or as close as you can get it. Okay, so over in another thing too, I made a mistake as well. See, I forgot to check the rear end ratios. Something really easy to forget about. And you always want to make sure that you're going to be running the correct rear end ratio. So change that for him real fast. Change the left front spring. We'll send it back to him, and we'll see what he thinks. And what we're going to do this time is we're going to ask him to do about a 5-lap run here if everything feels okay, and trying to get like a ballpark figure on temperatures to see how much tape we can, if we can put more tape on, or if we have to take some off. Okay, setup shared with you, Mike. And we're on lap 5 right now.
Okay. All right. That was a good adjustment. Definitely helped 3 and 4. Can still feel the bumps. Definitely rides the bumps harder than it did when we first started, but it's obviously making a lot more speed, so that's nothing to be worried about, I don't think. It didn't feel like it got any worse right there as we went. It actually felt like it got better as the pressures came up and the car raised up and times fell off a couple tenths, so that was good. I guess my only complaint would be that the center of 1 and 2 got tighter and tighter as that 5-lap run went on, so it's definitely something that we need to work on.
Okay. How were the oil and water temps?
Cold. The oil was at 220, water was at 185.
Okay, well, we can definitely put more tape on it then for you, so we're gonna put more tape on it first of all. We'll go up to 38. It might be a little, we'll go 37 just to be safe here. So, when you put a little more tape on it, it is going to increase the overall downforce, and it is going to lower the nose a little bit. We'll have to be careful to make sure that the left front doesn't bottom out the splitter. But it is a little tight through center 1 and 2. It's not really rotating how he wants it to. So we're going to make it just a real quick spring change in the rear. And when you're when you're playing with the rear springs here, now because we had an issue with the left front bottoming out, we really don't want to raise the right rear spring. Because when you raise the right rear spring, it's going to hold the left front down more because you're increasing that spring rate. It's going to keep the right rear up when you increase it, which is going to force the left front down. So all we're going to do is we're going to go to the left rear instead, and we're going to make a change. We're going to go just down 50 pounds, and we're going to take the ride heights back up to where they were. And so now the same holds true for the left rear to the right front. Now this is going to make the left front go up a little bit, and not hold the right front down so much. So we're just going to make a quick shock change up here, and take some bump stiffness out of it. We're going to go down to 20 bump stiffness on the right front. Now hopefully what it's going to allow is it's going to kind of compensate for the softer left rear spring, and it'll allow the right front to level out the splitter more in the corners to help with the downforce. And it's shared with you. And just taking a quick look at the lap times here, we can really see how they've improved since starting with the fixed setup, and we can see kind of how we've improved them as we went on here.
You want 5 laps again?
No, that's okay. We'll just about 3.
Okay.
Oh, that looked pretty good.
Yeah, it was a good adjustment. Loosened it up pretty much everywhere. Well, really everywhere. 3 and 4 is a little bit touchy now, but I could probably change my line just a little bit and make a lot of speed still. It's a little bit loose, but we definitely fix that with my driving. 1 and 2 was a lot better. Still a little bit snug right in the center, so I guess that could be a little bit looser there, but very close to being right where I'd want it, so we're almost there.
But for everyone that's kind of wondering, with how the wind is, this has an 8-mile-per-hour wind, and that is causing an oversteer in 3 and 4, and that's something you kind of have to really balance out, because when the wind's like this, you'll never get it perfect each corner, and you kind of have to make a compromise. Where if you want to have it drive good through 1 and 2, it's gonna have a loose oversteer condition in 3 and 4, and it's pretty much driver preference. If you can drive it loose through 3 and 4, or if he wants it, more snug in 3 and 4, and he'll deal with the understeer in turn 1 and 2. But we'll try to make it one more change before we call it a night here. Don't want to keep him around forever. So you said it was just a little snug in 1 and 2 still.
Yeah, right in the center.
Okay. Well, right in the center, I don't want to drop the rear springs anymore here. So what we're going to do is we're just going to make a really small right rear track bar change here. And reason for this is we don't want to go too crazy here with changing it, because it's within 3 and 4. He already has an oversteer condition, so we're just kind of trying to make a little small change that you won't really feel too much in 3 and 4. So we're just going to go up an inch in the right rear track bar. And it might be too much, but the only thing you can do is really try, see what the driver says. And there you go, shared. So the question is, how often do you make major adjustments to your cars in a race? Big swings, as they would say in the broadcast. And the answer to that is pretty much never. The reason for that is because when you're in a race, you already have the front end pretty much as low as you can get it. So when you start messing around with spring perches during the race, the likelihood is that you'll start bombing out the left front. And that's just going to lead to really bad things, because you're just losing all kinds of grip. I mean, you might make some tire pressure changes in it, and you might just make some very small cross changes by changing the spring perch.
Alright, give me a little bit more of that.
Sure.
It helped 1 and 2 more than it hurt 3 and 4, so we could just keep going on that, I guess.
Well, there you go. Cheers.
think you've gotten it about as good as it's gonna go.
Yeah. Well, I think we did a pretty good job here. Just working off the information you've given me. Makes it pretty easy to make these adjustments, and I hope that everyone kind of learned how to either take the information that's been given to them and kind of translate to the garage, or as a driver, how to describe what you feel the car is doing. But I'd like to thank you for taking some time out of your Sunday and
Absolutely.
working with us, and I hope to have you back some other time.
Yeah, definitely. I definitely have to do this again. This is glad we can help out the community and kind of show them what we did all of last year, and it obviously worked pretty well. So hopefully everybody watching can learn something and improve in their racing.
All right. Well, thanks everyone for watching. I will be uploading this to YouTube probably tonight or so and posting in the forums. And I will be doing another stream tomorrow. So look for that, and everyone have a great night. Thanks.